Call this Board of Adjustment to order. First, let me announce all decisions of the board are final. If there's anyone aggrieved by the decision of the board, they may appeal to circuit court within 15 days of the board's decision. Also, no permits or license can be issued until that 15-day appeal period has expired and no appeal has been filed. For information regarding the board's decision or an appeal to circuit court, the Office of Land Use Administration will be your contact. As you come to the podium, you address the board, not others in the audience or the staff. We'll ask that you give your name and address for the record, and there's usually a 5-minute limitation for speakers, 4 either in favor or in opposition for a particular variance request. And I try to be liberal depending on the number of people we have here and the discussion, but we try to stay to that time period. All right, let me call for roll call. Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Metcalf?
Here.
Mr. Burrows?
Here.
Mr. Milling?
Here.
Mr. Golden?
Here.
And I'm William Guest. We have all 7 members present. Requires 5 members to approve a motion. And we have Mr. Anderson here as our legal advisor. So we'll go in order, and we'll start with application 6178. Serena Parton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Bobby McBride, Rowe Engineering, representing this application for the client. We understand that...
Can you hear? I don't know, is that... Try it again.
Better?
Yes.
There we are.
Yes.
Bobby McBride, Rowe Engineering, representing this application for our client. We are aware that the staff has recommended this for approval, and we have no questions or no comments, and we're in agreement with it. So,
And they're in agreement to the staff's recommendations and conditions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions of the board for the applicant's representative? All right, anyone in the audience in favor or in opposition of this application today? Okay, we have none. Any questions of the board, once again? Staff recommends approval subject to several conditions. Chair, entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we're on application 6179. Ms. Williams? Your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Miyoshi Williams, and my current address is 4608 Lot Road, 8 Mile, Alabama. This variance is 4820 Challenge Circle North.
Okay, and you have seen staff's recommendation for denial. You want to tell us why we should consider otherwise?
I can't hear you.
The staff has recommended that your application be denied. You want to tell us why we ought to consider otherwise? What the hardship is?
First off, I'm rendering a service to, I guess, the less fortunate or the needy. It's for elderly and disabled who don't qualify for nursing home assistance. Either or, I don't know what was that. Why would they be disqualified? But they don't qualify. It could be they have property in their name. It could be they don't have 2 qualifying ailments, and their family can't care for them due to their daily activity. And what I do, I go in and I house them and take them to the doctor's appointments, administer the medication, whatever needs they need. Some of them have dementia where the family can't leave them at home by themselves. Some of them are just old or just need assistance with bathing and different other type things that where the family can't take care of them. And what I do, I go in when the family contacts me, and they come and see the house, and they approve it or whatever, and then I go in and assess them and talk with them or whatever. Then they come in and I just give them whatever assistance they need. They need to go to the store, clothing, bathing, proper hygiene, whatever they need. I do that for them.
Okay. It appears, based on the staff's write-up, that you had more in this facility than what you're requesting now.
Yeah, that one's the only one that has over the number of people that I'm allowed. without a variance. I think you can have, they told me I can have 4 per house, and yes, I do have more. But those are, the other ones are highly functioned. They are mentally ill, and what I do, take them to Alta Point, make sure they get their medication, but they can do for themselves. These, where I'm applying for the variance, they really can't maneuver around like the other ones can. But yes, sir, I do have more houses.
This house, it appears that it's a traditional residential property that you...
Yes, it was once my home. It was once my home. I lived there. I raised my children there. I got married, and I moved in my husband's home. But that was my house. That's where I live. I mean, that's where I live and raise my children.
Okay, and so it was a traditional residential home. How many restrooms, bathrooms?
It has 3 bathrooms, 5 bedrooms.
Okay. And I guess a lot of this is probably not appropriate for me to ask, but it appears that it has just a traditional drive and things like that. So how would a fire truck or an ambulance
Yes,
support?
that's fine. The ambulance has been there before. Not a fire truck, but yeah, it's a regular street. It's as if the ambulance was coming to get someone that lived next door. You know, it's nothing different. And also, I did want to stress that my consumers, they're like my family. I gave some pictures.
Yes,
where
we actually have them here.
I take them on vacation every year. During Christmas time, I rent out Logan Steakhouse. The women dress up, the men wear black pants, white shirts, dress them up. I pay for everything, and I'm just asking that you would, consider granting this variance so I can continue with my service that I offer them.
Have you modified the house for handicap access?
Yes. Well, I only have 2 in wheelchairs, but someone came out and did an assessment of what I needed to update. It was just a panel box. I updated that. I had to get some fire extinguisher coated. I did that. And I had the hot water tank was leaking. I got a new hot water tank. So that's all. They do have grab bars in the bathrooms for the, but yes, sir, I have.
So wheelchair access?
Yeah, the wall, they only have 2 in wheelchairs, and they're fine. They're going through, the walls hadn't had to be any wider than what they are for a wheelchair, because the wheelchairs are going through right now.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
See, I got one,
Mr.
Mr.
Brose?
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
How many people you gonna,
Pull your mic
housing?
closer.
how many people you gonna house in this facility?
It's 10
Just
there.
10?
Yes, sir.
And you have adequate space for 10?
Yes, yes, sir.
One other question. I'm a stickler for single-family residential neighborhoods. I don't like for them to be disturbed,
Okay.
Unless some reasonable reason to do so. Are your neighbors aware of this
Yes,
type of
yes, they
facility?
know, yes. Actually, a couple of the consumers go and sit next door with one of my neighbors, and they have coffee every morning. So they know. And I think a couple of them, I asked a couple of them, would they be in favor? I think a couple of them wrote letters and sent in to y'all.
We have 2, just for the record, 2 neighbors that have written letters in support, and it appears 2 in opposition that
Okay.
we have in our files.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Burrows, any additional questions?
No, that's good. You answered my question.
Okay. Any other questions of the board?
I have a question,
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Mellon?
Is there, the type of business you're running, is there any type of agency that regulates that you have to report to as far as your business operations and any kind of oversight agency?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
I mean, it's noted in the staff report that it would typically require a license for the Alabama Department of Public Health. Is that not true?
I can't hear you.
In the report, it noted that a business of this type typically requires a license from the Alabama Department of Public Health.
I think if it's over a certain number of people, but it could go through the Alabama Department of Public Health, but it's just so much. I tried that at first. I tried to do that. Went to Montgomery, did a class or whatever, but it was just so much to have a board of directors, a doctor, psychiatrist, and I didn't have the funds for that, to have all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, thank you for if you'll take a seat for a minute.
Okay.
Anyone here either in favor or opposition for this variance request? Yes, ma'am. If you'll come down. Your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Darlene Griffin, and I reside at 825 North Shallon Circle. And I'm not, we got this letter, and I guess I have a question. I don't know if I'm opposed or for it. I just have a question as a, you know, how would this change our neighborhood?
I'll defer to the staff to better explain that.
This request is specifically for this house.
Mm-hmm.
The zoning of the house itself would still remain single-family residential, but she is asking for special permission to operate a 10-person assisted living facility. And so if the board were to approve it today, that means that from this point forward, she or anyone else who owns the property in the future could operate a 10-person assisted living facility.
Okay, but would it change the physical makeup of the neighborhood in any way? Because it says something about a buffer for trees and all of that.
Well,
I'm not familiar with all of this, but how would it change the neighborhood physically in any way?
Typically, an operation like this would be considered a commercial use, so they would have typically been required to provide a parking lot for employees, to provide some sort of buffering between the use itself and the neighboring single-family homes so that there wouldn't be any noise or visual intrusions. But there were requests before the board today includes variance requests from those requirements. So she's asking not to have to provide a parking lot for her employees, not to put in the buffering that would be typically required.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. How close do you live to this property?
We live across the street, I guess about 3 or 4 houses across the street from this residence.
Have you seen many cars? or
No, I
traffic?
mean, typically, my husband is pretty much home more than I am, but he can attest to this. Typically, it's fine. I just wanted to know how it would change the single-family, you know, neighborhood, because I don't notice anything, you know, one way or the other down there. But I
Okay.
just wanted to know, would it have a bearing on the physical aspect of the neighborhood? Would it change that in any way? That was my question. But apparently, she's not trying to change any of that, so that was really my question.
Okay, so you haven't really seen any detriment to the neighborhood or
No,
any
sir,
problems?
I
Okay.
haven't. Mm-mm.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, once again, anyone else in the audience, either in favor or opposition? Okay, we have none. Any further questions of the board for the applicant?
I guess I have,
If you will, please.
one, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Davis.
It appears to me that this is a service that's needed,
Yes, sir.
very much so. And as I can recollect, there are several services like this rendered across the city. Is that correct?
I didn't hear you.
There are several services that are being offered in neighborhoods that are residential,
Yes, sir.
similar to yours.
Yes, sir.
The complaint about not elderly people, some young people, younger, are living there, and I believe you addressed it in saying that those were mentally challenged. Is that correct?
I do have mentally ill amongst the houses, but all the ones that's there are over, I would say over 55 that's living in that home. All of them are over. Now, some of them are elderly that had a mental illness, but they're elderly.
Okay. I think there are two situations up here in front of me where one of your patients was out after 11:30 asking for maybe a cigarette or something? Are you familiar with that?
I think, yeah, but he's no longer there. He's in, I think it was, that happened maybe, I guess about a month ago. That happened about a month ago, but he's no longer in the, and he's 57.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he's 57.
What was the reason for his discharge?
What was his reason?
The reason he was discharged from your facility?
Well, I thought he needed, his medication wasn't as acting as it should, so I sent him to get further testing, and he's in a, to get his medication adjusted. That was what I would say, to get his medication adjusted.
Okay. All right.
Any further questions? What's your background? What's your legal, expertise? Are you a nurse or?
Well, no. When I was 16, my dad became ill, and I couldn't. When I got out, my mom had to work,
Right.
so I had to take care of my dad. So I did that, and he was a diabetic and COPD, and I mean he passed away now. But then my children's grandmother became ill, and I took care of her. Then back in 2013, my brother became sick, and because high blood pressure runs in our family, and he needed a kidney, and I donated him one of my kidneys. We did testing for a year, back and forth to Texas. I went to Texas, stayed there for like 4 or 5 months. So it's just in me, you know.
You sound like a very compassionate person.
Yeah, it's just my.
We're not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, the key thing that we have to focus
Yeah.
on is that, you stated you have other facilities?
Yes.
Okay. Our focus is on this property. What is the hardship? Why can this not be just a regular residence like it was when you once lived there? Why does it have to be a facility like this?
Well, it's the need of the people.
Oh, we're not disagreeing that there's a need.
I try to help everybody that I can, and that's the largest house that I have. That's the largest one. And then I have CNAs that work there 24 hours a day. It's 24-hour staff. So I have 2 staff members in the daytime there. I have a girl that comes in from 2 to 6 just to give all the consumers baths. And then I have a secretary there. So that's the biggest house. So, and I felt like that was a more house for the needy, you know, that couldn't help themselves, because they was calling me, and I didn't do it at first, but they kept calling me needness, their family couldn't, their mom. So I just tried it, and it worked.
Right. We understand. I guess back to the basic question is, could you not do this somewhere else at another property?
No, it's just that property.
No, my question is, could you find a property that was zoned and designed for what you're trying to do? We don't think anybody's questioning your service.
Yeah.
And your intent, that there's a need. It's this property, whether or not there's a hardship for you to have to do it here versus somewhere else.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that's, I mean, I can't find one if I could find one, but right now that's all that I have.
Okay, so you see our dilemma is,
yeah.
You know, we understand your compassion and what you're trying to do, but at the same time, this property was not designed for this purpose.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, all right, that's all I have. All right, once again, any other questions?
How long you been there?
How long?
Been in that location doing this?
I guess maybe a year.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions? Mr. Davis?
No, sir, I'm good,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions of the board? All right, thank you again.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I've been looking at the Alabama Department of Public Health website, and it seems to me that based on their definitions, this may be considered a sort of assisted living facility that they would regulate. They have 3 different types. They have the family assisted living facility, which is up to 3 people. The group assisted living facility, which is from 3 to 16 people. And then the congregate assisted living facility, which is for care of 17 or more people. So it would seem that there is a level of state oversight that perhaps is necessary. And also, I don't believe that a pre-development meeting was held after the site visit that occurred approximately a year ago when the fire department had all the building trades go out to the property. So I just wanted to give you that information.
Okay, thank you. All right, discussion of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Metcalf?
I move for denial of the application.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, I have 6 to affirm, 1 to oppose. Thank you. If you will get with staff, they'll explain. All right, application 6180, Ryco Signs, on behalf of Burger King, 3200 Spring Hill Avenue. Looks like you're going to be up for 2 of them. Name and address.
Wade Wright, Ryco Signs, 3345 Halls Mill Road.
All right, let's see here. The first one they're looking to deny. You want to tell us why we ought to consider otherwise?
Yes, the Burger King there in Crichton, Spring Hill at Western Drive, the front of the building actually faces Spring Hill, and there are no signs on that wall. And coming in from I-65 on Spring Hill, traveling east, there is a small monument, but once you get to the visibility of that, you're pretty much past the entrance. Also, Burger King does have a corporate image they are asking all of their franchisees to follow, and that corporate image has the logo on what they call the tower. And yeah.
Let me share this with the folks. I think that's primarily it. Let me ask you this while we're passing the file around. The logo is on one side, which would be which elevation? Or which would be the southern Spring Hill side?
The one that we would like to add, yes. The
Yes.
two we would like to add.
Now, I'll ask the question probably for the group. Why do we need 2 on one side? Because they're identical, other than one's on the tower and
I
one's
think
on
just
the drive.
trying to follow corporate image in that case.
Okay. Any other questions of the board for the applicant? Ms. Rep? I mean, I see that you
Yeah, and a lot of the traffic
put it
does.
back where it shows the street, please. There, up, back where you were. One more. So you got Western Drive and Spring Hill, and then on the north side's a parking lot.
Correct. But the side that faces the parking lot can easily be seen traveling north on south on Western Drive.
Is there a sign on that as well?
Yeah, let me pull my cheat sheet out here. Yes, there is. We have 2 permitted wall signs now, one on the north, one facing east.
Okay, so you've
So
got
that's-
one, yeah,
right.
you have one on the north side, you have one on the east side,
Correct.
and then you're looking at 2 on the south side. I'm surprised you didn't ask for for an additional one on the west side.
Well, I think it's
You have it
somewhat
surrounded.
blocked right there, though, by trees and such.
All right.
The one on the taller tower is definitely the more important one to Burger King.
All right.
Wade, what's on the pylon? Or is there a pylon?
Yeah, it's a small monument right there on the corner of Western and Spring Hill.
How high is it?
Sir?
Do you know the height? Just approximate?
Do you know the height? No, but I'm going to guess 8 feet, somewhere in there.
Okay, thanks.
Possibly 10, somewhere in that range.
Give me a second, I'll see if we have something to validate that.
You know, and one of the things too is the McDonald's pylon that's over on Moffett Road 98 is extremely tall. And I think a little bit of the Burger King not having the visibility that they do. And if you pass Western Drive, it's just about impossible to get back because the way 98 and Spring Hill come together, just right past that past the location.
Yeah, it appears it's about 8 to 10 feet, as you described. Okay, any other questions of the board? So, your client would be, if necessary, prefer to keep the one on the tower, if at all possible. The lower one over the drive-through window.
Can I ask Mr. Cooper to come down?
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Name and address, sir.
Cole Cooper, address is 2100 River Edge Parkway, Suite 850, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. My question was, if necessary, or if the board should choose the one sign over the tower versus if we were to even consider a variance, would that be the preferred or the one over the drive-through?
The one on the front tower would be the preferred.
Higher profile.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's the image that Burger King corporate, usually requires us to have. They like us to have it, just because when you're coming down Spring Hill Avenue, you just see the back corner of a building. You don't really know what it is until you come on that monument side. So this would help people coming from the highway be able to identify the Burger King and give them enough time to safely pull into that parking lot.
Right. It seems like there was one on there before. There was never one on the south side of that building?
I think so.
I don't think.
So the only thing you had was the monument sign?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the building has been totally remodeled.
Yeah, I've been by there quite a bit. And I'll be honest with you, I was expecting to see you, just knowing how you were doing that building. Okay, any other questions of the board for the applicant? All right, anyone in the audience either in favor or opposition? We have none. Discussion of the board? You gentlemen can have a seat. Chair, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the application subject to only one sign on the south side being on the tower and not the second sign.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, and you're back up. This is 6181.
Yeah.
Ryco Signs for Skin Cancer Surgery Center, Sunrise Dermatology.
Right, and just agreeing with the staff report, it really is an unusual piece of property, the way you cannot see one entrance from the other. And that's the biggest issue on the table, is people are pulling in, parking, and having to walk around the building. And the ones we're trying to direct are those that are skin cancer patients.
Right. Well, staff, as you stated, recommends for approval, subject to some minor, the traditional conditions. Any questions of the board for the applicant? Okay, anyone in the audience in favor or opposition? Okay, we have none. I travel this area as well quite a bit, and I would definitely say that it's a line of sight issue with the one sign because of the way it's laid out. As such, as chair, I'll make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations. Do I have a second?
Second, you have a second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your time. All right, application, let's see here, make sure I'm on track. 6182. This would be Michael Crowley, I think it is. 5424 US Highway 90 West. Your name and address, sir?
Correct. My name is Tyler Neubauer, and I'm speaking on behalf of Michael Crowley and the McDonald's Corporation.
Say your name again, sir.
Tyler Neubauer. My address is 1811 Friars Lane, Mundelein, Illinois.
All right, and we're looking at sign variance to allow 2 menu board signs plus 2 pre-browse signs on a site with a 2 drive-through lane.
Correct.
And the staff's not in favor. They've recommended for denial. You want to tell us why we had to consider otherwise?
Understood. Yeah, at this existing McDonald's, they do have 1 existing pre-browse board in the primary lane, along with 2 main menu boards. What we're looking to do here, again, speaking to McDonald's, is initiative nationwide to bring all their McDonald's up to speed with the drive-through menu boards and modernizing the look of the drive-through with these menu boards. The new menu boards are smaller than the existing menu boards significantly. The square footage, which I believe is an issue here, with only having 25 square feet, I believe, per drive-through lane, and the code reads that only 1 drive-through menu board per lane is allowed, which is the reason for this variance. And speaking to that, the new menu boards put together don't even equal the existing menu boards. So I believe, even though with the code being as it is, if we could get a grandfather to have the menu boards as we're proposing them, with their main menu boards being, as you guys can see up there, 20 square feet as opposed to 41 square feet for the existing, that I believe that'd be way less obtrusive than the existing menu boards, which is, I believe, maybe a reason there to approve of that new menu board style for those main menu boards. And speaking to the new pre-browse boards we're looking to add, again, we'd be looking to replace the existing pre-browse board in the primary lane and then add another pre-browse board in the other lane. The reason being, again, with the McDonald's initiative nationwide to bring all their McDonald's up to speed with this initiative, modernizing their McDonald's, making these boards digital and display. It's a static display. It's not a scrolling display. It doesn't change the images. It can be made to be a static display. The brightness of these boards can be dimmed to a point where they're the least obtrusive to the surrounding area, the public. And in having these additional pre-browse boards, the goal there is to speed up service and traffic to better serve the general public.
What's the purpose of the pre-browse? Do they flash or scroll with?
No, it shows the menu items, as you guys may have known if you've gone through a drive-through. They show menu items for the customers. It's kind of, again, like a pre-menu board to your main menu board. The goal there is to display popular items that you could easily view before you get to your order, therefore already having your order in mind. And the goal here is to speed the process of serving the customers.
Okay, well, I don't see a value. So they don't change, they're static as well?
Yeah, static images.
Okay. All right, I have a question for staff, because based on the ordinance, this is considered a single lane, even though it splits into 2 lanes?
Well, the ordinance allows 1 menu board per drive-through lane.
Okay, so how many lanes are we
Well, they do have a split lane, if you look at the map behind you.
Yeah, I understand. That's
Right.
what I'm asking.
So they would be allowed 1 menu board on each of these lanes. And so they're asking.
Pre-browse is what's additional?
Yes.
And they already have existing pre-browse?
They may, but they may have been installed without permits.
Okay, that explains.
Was that not grandfathered in by any chance?
Pardon?
That existing menu, the pre-browse, just to clarify.
If it was not, or if it was installed, I think prior to the adoption of the sign regulations, it would be considered, but that would have been, I think, in 1992.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't have these split lanes back then.
Right.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions of the board for the applicant? And you said, by understanding, you said this is a corporate kind of
a nationwide initiative that you'll see, throughout the nation, yes.
Okay. Sir, do you have something to add?
Yes, my name.
Your name and address for the record.
My name is Mike Crowley, Michael Crowley, and
Yes, sir.
I'm the corporate representative for McDonald's. I'm an area construction manager, and I'd just like you to reference the existing menu board has 4 panels. We're actually going down to 3 panels. We're having 2 at the order point where the customer for the menu board, and the 1 pre-browse board, is the 3rd panel, actually less square footage,
but it allows the customer to basically make their mind up before they get to the speaker. So it does speed up our process and helps us to get throughput through the drive-throughs. But like I said, our square footage is going down. We have a pre-browse board. I'm not sure if it didn't get permitted. I would have assumed it did when we put in the side-by-side, or we wouldn't have been able to put it up in poor bases and get them inspected. But I mean, like I said, I don't have nothing to reference that, but I'm making assumptions.
Okay. Any questions of the board for the applicant? So the current menu board is 4 panels, and then prior to that, you have, as you call it, the pre-browse.
Correct.
So really, you got 5, well, I don't know how staff looks at it. It's almost like you got 5 boards on each line.
In one lane.
Each
in
lane.
The primary lane. We only have 1 pre-browse board right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking for 2 pre-browse board, 1 in each lane.
So the pre-browse that you're talking about would replace this?
Correct.
Yes.
Which
Yes,
has
sir,
got
correct.
like 3 meal plans and,
Yep.
okay. Pass this around. Any questions of the board? All right, anyone in the audience either in favor or opposition? Okay, we have none for the record. I have kids, so I can tell you I've spent enough time in these lines to have a personal opinion. I don't think the lines are, how should I say, necessarily that convenient sometimes for the turning radius, but based on the size of the vehicle, but that's something from a corporate standpoint you'll have to, I guess, hear from some of your customers. You have a lot on these boards. Obviously, your menu is quite extensive, so there's a lot. I'm surprised you're not having something scrolling. I mean, it just seems like that would, because your other internal boards do that all the time.
Yeah, it's something that could be done, but not with these boards. I think the goal here is to have a static image, knowing, you know, with certain codes, you know, issues that may be had with scrolling images, changing images, that could be distracting to the public, so these are made static. Although it is like an LCD TV, more or less, is what it is. It's clear. The clarity is much better than these plastic boards, and we're looking to, like I said, as far as aesthetics, it opened up the landscape. It's more aesthetically pleasing, I think, to the eye. It's more modern. I think it accomplishes the goal we're looking for here in serving the general public. There's food service in a better way than the existing boards would.
From a staff standpoint, if they didn't have the logo on there, would that change anything?
Well, it's still advertising the products that they sell, so it's not really informational from our standpoint.
Okay.
And, you know, I would imagine that it's possible that the pre-browse board would change based on time of day, perhaps. So you might have a morning product that you would advertise, lunch and dinner.
It could, as if, you know, to speak to that, it could, yes, definitely. And I think the goal, correct me if I'm wrong, would be to change them as they would currently. As you know, the current ones have faces where they're manually changed. So we have to have an employee go out there into traffic and actually use their hands to flip these to change from morning to lunch. So it'd be more efficient this way, I suppose. Save someone a little bit of a walk outside.
Right. So the primary issue is, though, the number, not anything other than, because they're not near residential.
Well, it probably is not within the 300 feet, but it is the quantity that's the issue, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else to add before? Okay. Discussion of the board? Chair, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, move for approval.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. And you have the second,
Yeah,
the
I
last.
might as well stay here.
Exactly the same thing.
Similar, correct. The next
Same
one's
thing, right?
It's similar. Different code that would apply, but similar.
Well, let me ask this. This one, is there a 300-foot residential?
Yes, it's up behind you right now. You would have a church down here on the south side, so it's not an actual residential use. You have a residence perhaps located across Clubhouse Road, and this property used to be a residence, but it was rezoned to be made into a business, but I don't think they ever followed through with it. So there are not necessarily any active residential structures within the 300-foot radius.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything different on this? And just for the record, we're talking about applications, let's see here, 6183, and this is 3116 Dolphin Island Parkway.
Correct, yes.
And your name and address for the record?
Yep, again, my name is Tyler Neubauer with Kiefer Starlight Signs, representing Michael Crowley on behalf of McDonald's Corporation.
Okay. Anything different on this application?
It's pretty much identical. Same boards, same sizes, same application at that restaurant. Same goal as far as, bringing everything up to speed nationally with McDonald's corporate standards, serving the general public to the best of their ability as far as servicing them in a quick, sufficient manner.
And you did state that these can be dimmed down, or the light setting based on...
They can be dimmed down, they can be made shorter, as far as, if you're trying to make them as least obtrusive as possible to the general public. I mean, as they stand, about just over 19 square feet, round up to 20. I think it's 19.73 square feet to be exact on that main menu board. The smaller one being, I think, just over 9, so round up to 10, I believe, to be fair. Same application, same idea, just applying to a different property here. I think the only thing with this property, just knowing the code, and as it's stated here in the agenda, obviously the issue was the 300 feet, being from the residential area. That could have played into that with having digital menu boards. Again, though, depending how you guys view these digital menu boards with having a static image, it's just not your typical, call it, like a Walgreens electronic message center that's scrolling different data, different things, temperature, products, sales. It's a static image displaying a menu board item for McDonald's. So just kind of add that in there. But in short or in long, yeah, okay. We're looking for the same application here.
All right, any questions of the board for the applicant, once again? All right, and I'm sure you have nothing to add that you didn't previously. Anyone in the audience either in favor or opposition? Okay, we have none, Lisa, for the record. Chair, entertain a motion.
The chair move for approval.
A motion to approve. Can I put a request that you put a stipulation on a condition that they dim these?
Light at night, the time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Since there is a residential component within.
So just that they would meet the dimming requirements for electronic message boards?
Is that correct, Mr. Coleman?
Yeah, right.
Okay, and do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate your time.
All right, we're at the last, I believe, case for the day, application, I should say. 6184, 6023, 5672, 5608, My Happy Dog, 123, and you're back again. Name and address.
Back again, first and last. Bobby McBride, Rowe Engineering, here representing this application. The owner developers are here with me today. We are aware of the staff recommendation for approval, and we're aware of the staff conditions subject to the approval. No questions, no comments, we're happy. So.
And your client's in agreement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions of the board for the applicant's rep?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Just,
Bobby,
Bobby, as far as the, and this may be a more appropriate question for the owners, but as far as the hours of operation from 9 to 6, I mean, is that something you feel like gives you adequate time in order to operate your business?
I believe so. Would you care to address this? I'll let the owners address these questions. They'll be better equipped to answer than I.
Your name and address, sir.
Jason Duke, 119 North Ann Street. As far as the hours of operation, Are you referring to being open to the general public?
I guess just, yeah, how does the process, I mean, the customers you're servicing, I mean, typically what's the times they're coming and going? And
Well, a lot of our business is also wholesale to larger retailers. So the front of the store and the storefront part of it is more of us trying to be a part of the community. So as far as hours, we're totally flexible. It's not much of an issue for us.
So that work, 9 to 6 works well for y'all. Okay. Second question I had was just dumpster and just making sure that, you know, I think the recommendation was between 9 and 9. Do you think there's any chance to push that, or would you be comfortable with pushing dumpster pickup at night earlier? So I'm just thinking about with residences and things being in that area.
Sure.
And the noise that's,
absolutely
associated with that. I would think that could be coordinated with the dumpster company and just making sure that that doesn't get to be a situation that is, burdensome on the neighborhood.
Absolutely. We look to be good neighbors to anybody, so sure.
Okay.
Great.
I mean, if that was backed up to say, no later than 5, do you think that would be acceptable to y'all?
We can make it work.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Metcalf.
I'm just curious, as far as the time limitations, why is the staff placing or trying to place limitations on the time that they open, more so than the time that they close? I think Mr. Milling was maybe going toward this. If you're a bakery, is a 9 o'clock open, is that burdensome on you? Or would you prefer that to be earlier? I just don't know why we would be even talking about what time you open.
Well, not necessarily, because we're primarily going to be baking dog treats. And so,
Okay, so I'm not going to be coming there at 7:30 and trying to get a croissant or something.
Right.
Yes, okay, sir. I'm with you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't.
That's right, yeah. Absolutely.
All right, I'm with you.
Whatever his preference is for breakfast, we don't.
I didn't quite follow. I'm sorry. I was worried about the name, though.
Sure.
Well, Mr. Metcalf, in the 2016 variance approval, there were hours of operation limits for the restaurant and for the dumpster and delivery. And then with the application at hand, the applicant noted that the hours of operation would be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
All right, just curious. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions for the owner or the representative? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I do have a question for you before you take off. It's not noted in here, but trucks, since you're serving other...
Currently, our process of delivery is through UPS, and we personally deliver those packages. The way that our process works, we're currently in Whole Foods, and we're in the South region currently. And the way Whole Foods operates, they don't come and order, 2,000 cases. They're literally filling their shelves, and that's it. There's no back stock, there's no nothing. So, we might get 2-3 purchase orders from the same place within 2 weeks.
So
and we're literally sitting out like 1 or 2
large
boxes.
trucks, it's just going to be...
Right, with the exception to, typical deliveries like you would get.
UPS or FedEx or whatever. Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you. All right, any further discussion of the board? Staff recommends for approval, subject to condition of hours, and lighting, things like that. Chair, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve, subject to staff recommendations, except amending the dumpster pickup to no later than 5.
Okay, I have a motion to
Second.
approve with that condition on the time limit on the dumpster, and a second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. You all have a good day. All right, any other business today?
I would like to let the board know that Richard Olson's position has been filled, and the winner is Margaret Pappas, who is transitioning from the Deputy Director of Permitting to the Deputy Director of Planning and Zoning, and her first day was actually May 21st, so she's already on the job. And I think
She's
Doug...
familiar with the...
Yes.
Right. Very
Yes,
familiar.
she's been in permitting for about 8 years, but before that, she was in planning, and she's worked for the city 28 years. And,
As I mentioned, she oriented me to the board when I first came on, so,
and then I think Doug has a brief update on a few court cases.
yes.
Just one. The only activity since our last meeting was we had a hearing last Thursday in the Temple Lodge case, which is the curb cut case downtown, and the judge has it under submission. So we'll hopefully know something this week.
Okay, thank you.
Well, they're building, they're going to operate whether they have the 5 or not. Yeah.
And so-
At least, yeah, he's fully under construction, yes, yes.
And Doug, we had asked for,
With the, oh, that's, changed judges, 2 months ago, and we've got a hearing on that one in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Let me ask you a question. What's the difference between sawdust and coal dust?
From a legal viewpoint, one's hazardous and one's not, I guess. Hazardous? I don't know. I'm not legally under our ordinance. I'd have to look at that. I do not know.
Both of them are combustible.
Having served in OSHA for 30 years, I can give you a definition of hazardous to coal dust. Coal dust called pneumoconiosis, all types of lung disease with airborne.
But the thing is combustible. It's not.
We ain't talking about combustible. We talking about what you're breathing.
I have one last question. Not really for you, but for staff in general. How are we coming along on minutes? I know you're short on staff, but unless it's a case that's under appeal or something, I don't know
We're still short on staff, so yes, the only time minutes are getting prepared is when we have appeals.
My only concern is my memory is not that good to go back and review minutes. It's 2 years old.
I understand.
Further back for the accuracy. So,
Well, we take notes and we don't throw our notes away until we've proofed the
is there
minutes.
anything we need to do as a board to officially press?
We do have them recorded. Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm just concerned that, like I said, I can't remember whether or not I agreed to something or not 2 years later.
Until Lisa Roberts has assistance at the front desk with
Yeah, I
someone
know
else
you're short-staffed.
answer
I
the
am
phone.
fully in
Yeah.
agreement, so.
So unfortunately,
I just wonder about how it, whatever legal ramification may have on us as a board for,
well,
That'll be another one Doug can represent us on if it ever comes up, so. All right, thank you. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, well, it's fun. Another day in paradise. That's all that.
What you don't agree with what Burris is saying?
We got to watch Matt Gaff eating them dog treats. Yeah, it's kind of scary. I know he didn't notice the name.
They did.
He got out here for a haircut.
What I got out.
I mean, that is crazy. Yes, ma'am. Can I help you? Is there anything I can do to help you? Oh, I know. You're calling and checking. No, I'm not blaming you. I want to know if there's anything we can do to help you. Well, even before Joe, it was even like that.